I never thought I'd see my mother cry. Not like this. Her hands clutched the marble countertop as if it could keep her from collapsing. Her perfect curls were messy, mascara streaked down her face, and her voice cracked when she whispered, "Emma, please, don't do this." She looked so small, so pitiful, like the world was caving in around her, and for once, I felt nothing. Because I remembered sitting at this same counter 3 years ago, sobbing and shaking as I begged her for help when my life was falling apart. She'd laughed, poured herself a glass of wine, and told me, "You made your bed, Emma. Now lie in it." Now here we were, roles reversed. Her empire was crumbling, and I was the one holding the match. "Funny," I said, leaning against the counter, my arms crossed. "You didn't seem so concerned when I was the one begging." Her lip trembled, but she stayed silent. I'd dreamed of this moment 1,000 times, but I'd always imagined feeling triumphant. Instead, all I felt was tired, so tired of her games, her manipulation, her cruelty. But this was my chance to end it. I'm 27 now, but standing in this kitchen feels like I'm 17 all over again. This house hasn't changed, the glossy hardwood floors, the smell of Mom's vanilla candles, the perfectly staged family photos. To outsiders, we looked like a picture-perfect family. Dad was a successful businessman, Mom was the flawless suburban queen, and Ethan, my older brother, was her golden child. Then there was me, the difficult daughter, the one with anxiety attacks, messy hair, and a passion for writing that Mom thought was a waste of time. I grew up learning that my feelings didn't matter. If I cried, I was dramatic. If I succeeded, Ethan did it better. I wasn't allowed to take up space in this house. I learned to tiptoe, to blend into the walls, to make myself invisible. But invisibility is a dangerous thing. It teaches you how to watch, how to listen, how to notice the cracks in the perfect image people project. I noticed Mom's lies long before I understood them. Back then, I thought maybe she'd change, maybe she'd love me one day, but love never came. What came instead was betrayal so sharp it carved out every last piece of trust one had for her. Family dinners were always a performance. Mom would sit at the head of the table, Ethan on her right, Dad on her left, and me, somewhere in the background. She'd gush about Ethan's latest achievements, honor roll, sports trophies, college acceptance letters, while barely acknowledging I existed. "Emma, do you even listen when your brother speaks?" She'd snap if I was quiet. "You could learn something from him." Ethan wasn't cruel, not outright, but he never defended me either. He'd smirk, roll his eyes, and let her words cut me to pieces. I stopped inviting friends over by the time I was 14. The smiling woman who baked cookies for school events turned into a storm the moment the front door closed. My best friend, Lila, was the only one who saw the truth. She'd sit on her bedroom floor with me, handing me tissues as I cried. "You're not crazy," she'd whisper. "Your mom is not okay." But when you grow up being told you're worthless, you start to believe it. I tried to be the daughter she wanted, but no matter what I did, I was never enough, and deep down, I started to believe I didn't deserve to be loved. The first crack in Mom's perfect facade appeared my senior year of high school. I'd just come home from a late shift at the coffee shop when I heard her voice, sharp and low, on the phone in the kitchen. "No, she doesn't need to know," she hissed. "She wouldn't know what to do with it anyway. She's useless." My heart stopped. She was talking about me. I crept closer, holding my breath. "I told you, Ethan deserves it. He's responsible, Emma." She'd blow it all. I pressed myself against the wall, my hands clammy. This wasn't about grades or attitude. This was bigger. I peeked into the kitchen and saw her pacing, phone in one hand, a glass of wine in the other. Her expression was cold, calculating. I'd never seen her like that. I wanted to march in there and demand answers, but I was terrified. Instead, I tiptoed upstairs and locked my bedroom door. I lay awake all night, my heart pounding. That was the night I realized Mom wasn't just critical, she was plotting against me. A week later, I couldn't take it anymore. I walked into the kitchen while she was scrolling through her phone. "What are you hiding from me?" I demanded. She blinked, then smiled sweetly. "What on earth are you talking about, sweetheart?" "Don't sweetheart me," I snapped. I heard you on the phone. You were talking about me. About something I don't need to know. What is it? Her expression hardened. Emma, you're overreacting. Again. Stop saying that. My voice cracked, tears stinging my eyes. You act like I'm crazy, but I'm not. You're hiding something. Tell me the truth. She set her phone down and sighed dramatically, like I was exhausting her. Emma, you wouldn't understand. It's complicated. Family finances, adult matters. I am family, I screamed. I'm your daughter. Why do you hate me so much? Her face went blank, like I'd slapped her. I don't hate you. You're just difficult. Some kids are easy, some aren't. You make everything harder than it needs to be. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. That was the first time I realized she'd never love me the way she loved Ethan. After that night, things shifted between us. She stopped pretending to care. She'd criticize me openly, roll her eyes when I spoke, and make snide comments about me being overly emotional. I learned to shut my mouth, keep my head down, and survive until I could move out. But she wasn't done with me. A year later, after Dad died suddenly, I came home for the funeral. The grief was suffocating, but Mom didn't shed a single tear. Instead, she became colder, more calculated. She started whispering to Ethan behind closed doors, and I often caught them falling silent when I entered the room. I didn't think much of it at first, I was too numb to care, but a part of me felt that same tension from years ago, that feeling of being excluded from something important. One night, while she was out, I crept into Dad's study. The room smelled like his cologne and lemon polish. My hands shook as I opened drawers, looking for anything that would explain her behavior. That's when I found the safe. It took me 3 tries, but I finally cracked the code to the safe. My grandparents' anniversary. Inside were folders neatly labeled with names. My fingers froze when I saw one labeled Emma, Trust. My heart pounded as I opened it. The legal jargon blurred together, but one thing was clear: I was the primary beneficiary of a trust worth over $1, $2 million. I sat there in shock, tears blurring my vision. All those years of being told I was worthless, all those moments of feeling like a burden, and here was proof she'd been trying to erase me. One sticky note in her handwriting read, "Convince him Emma isn't responsible." I put everything back, locked the safe, and walked out of that study with a fire in my chest. She wasn't just cruel, she was dangerous. The next day, I returned to the study while she was out and photographed every document, trust agreements, transfer plans for Ethan, her notes, everything. Every click of my camera felt like a small act of rebellion. That night, I called Lila. "She's trying to steal it," I whispered, my voice shaking. Lila was quiet for a moment. "Emma, this is serious. You need a lawyer." "No. I can't afford one," I muttered. "You can," she said firmly. "That trust is yours. This is your future. You can fight her." Her words lit a spark inside me. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had power. That night, I made a decision. I wasn't going to let her win. Weeks passed as I quietly built my case. With Lila's help, I found a lawyer willing to take me on. He looked at the documents and whistled low. "She's trying to have you declared financially irresponsible. If she succeeds, she gets control of the trust." My stomach turned. "She's not going to win," he said confidently. "We'll stop her." When we finally confronted her, it was in her pristine living room. She sat on the couch, wine glass in hand, wearing that smug smile I'd seen my whole life. "You think you're clever, Emma?" she sneered. "You've always been dramatic. This is why you can't handle money. You'll ruin yourself." "No," I said, my voice steady for once. "You're done controlling me." Her smile faltered when my lawyer pulled out the paperwork. What followed was a legal battle that stripped her facade bare. 4 months, she tried everything, gaslighting me, turning Ethan against me, spreading lies about me being unstable, but every time, my lawyer countered with hard evidence. In court, she finally snapped, screaming about how I was ungrateful and didn't deserve a dime. The judge's gavel slammed, silencing her. I won. The trust was secured in my name, and Mom was ordered to repay some of the money she'd already stolen. The look on her face when the verdict was read, it wasn't satisfaction I felt, it was closure. Now, Here she was, standing in her kitchen, begging me not to press charges for fraud. "Emma, please," she whispered. I looked her dead in the eye. "You should have thought about that when you laughed at me, walking out of that house for the last time." I felt lighter than I ever had. My childhood home was no longer a prison, it was just a place where a scared girl grew into a woman strong enough to fight back. People like my mom thrive on fear and control. They convince you that you're powerless, that you'll never survive without them. But once you see through their lies, they lose their grip. I didn't press charges, not because she deserved mercy, but because I deserved peace. She'd spend the rest of her life knowing she couldn't control me anymore, and that was punishment enough. If you're red,